it gives me absolute great pleasure to welcome, not only to Liverpool, but to Inexcess Television, Byron Katie, creator, founder of the work. You've had an amazing journey. Maybe in your own words, you know, in reading your books, this moment of enlightenment, this moment in 1986 when that was the real turning point, wasn't it?
It was.
In your own words then, how would you best describe what happened on that day?
Well, you know, actually, I was asleep on a floor, and because my self-esteem, my self-hatred was so great, I didn't believe I even deserved a bed to sleep in. So actually, I was sleeping on the floor, and as was very common for me to do, even with a bed there, I just didn't believe I deserved it. And this particular morning, actually, cockroach crawled over my foot, and I opened my eyes, and in place of all that darkness, these years and years of depression, where I thought suicide and death were the only way out, in that moment, there was a world no one told me existed, and it was here on earth. But what's valuable about that moment is I saw in that moment that when I believed my thoughts, I suffered. But when I questioned my thoughts, I didn't suffer, and I've come to see that this is true for every human being. And anyone who does inquiry, who does the work, anyone that has an open mind, I'm watching them all over the world, they're ending their suffering.
Katie, the work, it's 4 questions. There's a real simplicity about it. Could you talk me through it? The 4 questions and the turnaround.
Yes. For example, if someone had the thought, they don't care about me.
Okay.
So that would be the concept that we're actually, or the assumption we're actually working with. So we've identified that. Okay. So to say I was depressed and I had the thought, they don't care about me, they didn't call me, I'm not pretty enough, I'm on and on and on. So I begin to feel these emotions and this depression or sadness. So those emotions show me right away, you know, what am I thinking? What am I believing? So identify, for example, they don't care about me. So I would write that down, and the reason I invite people to write it down is it stabilizes. The mind will say, oh, I didn't really mean that.
Okay.
But if it's written, then it's stable. Okay, so you bring mind into the world, you put it on paper. And so the first question is it true? They don't care about me. What's an opposite? They do care about me. And then the mind will say, oh, that can't be true. Well, I invite people to find examples. They do care about me. To find examples where they care about you. Another turnaround, they don't care about me. I don't care about me. Well, to find the areas where I have been uncaring, unkind toward myself, and to make amends, and to really experience those amends and take it in. And then it's funny, George, the next time that happens, that same behavior toward ourself happens, it starts to shift. It starts to shift because the mind is waking up. And when the mind wakes up, our physical lives shift. The whole world shifts in it. So another turnaround, they don't care about me. I don't care about them. Well, where is it that I don't care about people? That I don't care about those people specifically, and all people, and I'm a people. You know, where is it that I've been uncaring? Again, to make amends, to begin again. Because until we do, it's not done, this guilt that we're feeling. So I cannot be unkind to me or unkind to you without experiencing guilt, and that guilt remains until we make it right. But I cannot make right what I'm not aware of. So the work brings us out of denial, it brings all those secrets to the surface, and it also brings a solution with it in these turnarounds. So I like to refer to the work as checkmate.
Okay.
Yeah.
That then if I'm right in thinking, Katie, that then starts a process of challenging all the other areas of your life.
It does. It does. It does. You know, I say, you know, the work is, if you think of a positive affirmation, like
Yeah.
I'm lovable, loving, and loved, I can do it, you know, all this positive thinking, we begin to take it on and say, wow, that's what feels so terrible at first, you know, that feels right, that feels right. I like to say until we get the parking ticket, and then there is this underworld that overrides it. So the work is about dealing with the underworld, because it doesn't matter how wonderful our lives are, this underworld, these unquestioned thoughts and assumptions, until they're questioned, they will override it. And we do drink again, we use again, we snap at our children again, our self-esteem lowers, guilt runs our life, and again, this guilt, you know, it's such a loveless state of mind, and that's where addiction lives.
And the work then, Katie, with a carer, a loved one, are they then really having to deal with their internal truth and their internal love?
Yes, you know, the addict comes in, the depressed person, you know, you steps into the room, and you think, you know, as the caretaker, you think, oh my goodness, they're going to die. Oh, they're in so much trouble, and oh, I hurt their feelings. Oh, I better be careful, or they're not going to make it. And then how do we react when we believe those thoughts? We begin to treat them like they're going to break. We watch them, we look for moves, and then, you know, we become a false around them, and they recognize it, and it just, you know, it's as painful for the families as it is, it can be as painful for the families.
Well, it is. They walk the same steps.
Yeah.
You know, they might not be picking up a drink or using anything, but they are living and breathing and walking those same steps.
They are.
They just don't realise that, though, do they?
You know, they think that addict, for example, that alcoholic is the problem. They're the cause of my problem. Well, you know, I have come to see that I am the cause of my problem. And what I'm believing about that person is what is taking me out emotionally, not that person. I like to say, no one can hurt me, that's my job.
Can I ask you this? Can we as people feel overwhelmed by the responsibility that it is all within our own minds and our own hands? On first impressions, it's an overwhelming experience to think that actually I'm completely responsible for the right thing and the wrong. I'm completely responsible for not only loving you, but upsetting you. I'm completely responsible for not only giving you something, I'm also the person who's responsible for taking something. Is that an overwhelming responsibility for us
it is,
at first?
And it is, and it's insane.
It is insane.
I've come to see it's absolutely insane. You know, an example doesn't come to mind, but I have to be 100% responsible for my thinking now that I understand how to question it, or I'm going to continue to blame the world and the people in it for my shortcomings.
Is it to see the good in people? To see the good in what we have?
If I can't see the good in people, then I better question my thoughts.
And are we trying to create space to listen to that inner voice? Is that what we're doing? We've got to clear all the trash and the pain and the guilt and...
Well, just to come to know ourselves. And as we come to know ourselves, the guilt, you know, how can guilt exist or live?
Because there was a time when we would have been happy. There would have been a time that we'd have been creative. There would have been a time when we'd have believed we could be a somebody or a something. There was a time when, no matter how far back we go in our youth, for most people, there is a time when life was going to be different for you. It just has a habit of turning out not as we planned it.
Yeah. You know, I tell my children, make friends with mediocrity. It's balance and it's beautiful.
Thank you very much.
You're
I think
welcome.
I've just experienced the live version of the work.